Welcome to Profile Traders. This is Reza and you're listening to my market analysis for December the 29th. So there is really not anything new going on in here. It's the same condition that we have seen before, where at no cost there is a pullback in the equity market, but at the same time it's a full-blown crash in the oil market, and at the same time a very volatile condition for gold market, and a bloodbath and a massacre in other currencies against the US. So can we conclude anything that is super positive here with what it's in front of me in the charts? Nothing at all. It just looks like a very narrow range, low volume, little participation, typical of holidays. And I am starting to really believe more and more when I'm looking at this daily chart of ES that truly nothing will be stopping this market at all. I mean, we have seen war, we have seen surprises, we have seen everything that we could have seen to see the market coming down, but there is an absolute complete refusal for the market to come down. And this makes me conclude one thing and one thing only: this will go on and on and on and on until it will end with a crash. Only, I believe, a crash will stop this market, because I mean it's to a point that it has turned silly. It's I don't even really pay much attention to it, because there is really no more rationale behind it. For example, if we look at oil trading at $53 late this afternoon, and the equity market, which on the other hand is at its record all-time high, how can this two be explained? How can oil is telling us a story, and I believe much more the story of oil, because Mr. Greenspan or Mr. Ben Bernanke or Mr. Yellen Janet, they cannot go and print oil. It's a real commodity. People either use it and economies are booming, or people don't use it and the economies are slow. If the economies are slowing to a point where at $54, $55 they still don't want oil, how can it be that this casino up here is at record all-time high? But as I told you, there is no rationale anymore behind it. These are not anymore your regular markets. There is so much theft through computer programs, so much illegal activities that goes on, and SEC and other regulators are nowhere to be found to even ask questions of who is behind all this multi-billion-dollar theft that is taking place through completely illegal market manipulations. In any case, it is still looking very, very strong. There is absolutely no weakness whatsoever. The very first level of weakness that will happen, it is if we do come down and break below 2075. As far as we remain above 2075, I guess 2100 is around the corner. And if we do break 2075 down, we should be looking at 2063 and then 2043. Till then, buy against 75 and just enjoy the ride. Everything is great, everything is bullish, and it's very, very strong looking for the equity market. As far as oil, a disaster. I mean, it's a catastrophe at the rate at which they can let this thing fall apart, and it is falling apart just vigorously. And it is very obvious when you're at these stages, you have a lot of distressed money, you have a lot of businesses closing, you have a lot of oil manufacturers that want to sell futures in order to lock in the sell price of the physical, etc., etc. And it is looking so far continuing to look terrible. If we clear above 54, I have a target up there at 54.75, 55. If we continue to remain below 54, more downside is due. And as you saw today, when the downside hits, it gains speed and momentum. It is very normal when you are in the late stage of a crash as such. You will go through these phases of capitulation where the last of the last of the last longs and holders and believers, they throw the towel because the lower price gets from here, and obviously the more distressful and the more in need of liquidation the longs become. So when it hits the market, it's furious. Therefore, downside cannot be measured. Of course, it's oil. It's not going to go to zero. It's not like a piece of crap stock paper. It's a physical asset. Now, where will it find value and stabilize? We don't know yet. No way to tell. We haven't seen anything constructive to be shown on the downside, neither base building nor enthusiastic demand coming out of these levels, nothing. So short-term bounce, certainly above 54, fish for 54.75, 55, and below today's low, I cannot tell you. Now, as for gold, the most ridiculous story of the century, where every single day, for no reason at all, except for rubbish, garbage reasons, such as like a rally in the dollar or no inflation, garbage, stuff like that, every day somebody is manipulating this asset to the downside through paper for one obvious reason: accumulation of physical. Now, if you look at this whole situation, you look at the crash in the price of oil, you look at the crash in the price of gold, you look at the rally in the dollar, and you ask yourself, what is the one single country in this world that is benefiting from all three? Is it Saudi Arabia? No. Is it Latin America? No. Is it Europe? No. Is it Russia? No. Is it Africa? No. So the only one that is benefiting greatly from all these three crashes, gold, oil, and the rally of the dollar against other crashing currencies, is China. China is benefiting handsomely, and I would not be whatsoever surprised if they have a hand into all this. Because look, oil collapsing, their energy cost is going down significantly, and therefore making up for a tremendous amount of the slowdown that they are facing, and giving them a huge amount of money saving into the purchase of oil. Then, as now they are the number one economy in the world. Yes, in case you didn't know, China is not the number one in the world. They are in a very aggressive mode of buying gold very quietly, very silently, to build up a solid foundation for the currency that they will in the next 2-3 years push forward as an alternative for the world currency replacing the dollar. So all the physical gold that is floating out there at these cheap levels that they can manipulate through electronic and paper, trucks of gold is going into China. And I have even heard that Obama has sold our gold to the Chinese, that Fort Knox is empty. Yes, Fort Knox is empty. We are the custodian of German gold, and when the German ask to come and visit their gold, Federal Reserve refused them entry for safety reasons. I wonder why. Because probably the German gold was sold with our gold as well. And when they sold the gold, you know what excuse they used? They used the term leasing. So our gold is probably being leased to China as we speak. And on the top of it, they are buying everything that floats around in the market. So if you want to buy the physical, what do? You unleash a stupid, silly algorithmic every day that will knock down price on paper, because you can sell paper and bring the price of gold down even though that you don't have a milligram of gold in your hand. So think about it. Somebody definitely has an issue here that is pushing gold on a daily basis to the downside. So for now, it's a back and forth battle. Nasty. You have to be fast on your feet, move around quick, or else one hammer to the next can come and hit you on the head and it's gonna feel very bad. For now, resistance is 1187. If we can break that 1187, then we should go back again towards 1195. On the downside, if we do break today's low of 1178.5, we can target 74 and then 1170. So there is a little mini bracket here. 87 to the upside, 78.5 to the downside. So that's it for today. I will probably talk to you either tomorrow or next year. Have a wonderful one.